Hello, Uncle Roddus back again with another bunch of reasons why I have no money. Things have been flying through the door thick and fast. Yeah, cashed in some of my points at flying out, so I got three records for pretty much free. Plus the other records that I bought to bring up that points to that level to cash them in. Plus a few other purchases that were floating around that came in, like this one. It is playing behind me. This is, I don't think I showed this in my last video. This is the latest, or the second album from Wax Chattels. Wax Chattels out of Wellington. Clot is the name of the record. This is on limited edition baby blue vinyl, which is very light blue colour. I don't think it's as good as their first album so far, but it's growing on me with each listen. It's probably a slightly tamer than their first one. They were fantastic live, and I saw them play here live not long after their first record came out. One that I got off a Bandcamp, which I didn't realise was still available, which had been on my want list. This is a band called Trust Punks. Double Blind is the name of the record, out on Spunk and Wharfcat Records. This is from, it was recorded in 2015, put out in 2016. I'd been aware of it, but I hadn't actually, and I was familiar with at least one song off it, but I hadn't actually seen copies of it around or anything. But then found it on the Bandcamp somehow. Yeah, because I know that Flying Out had it originally on their website, and I never got round to buying it. They do have a second album out, which I haven't got. It's not that easily available either. So I think the rest of these are from Flying Out. So this is From Scratch. This is a new LP that they put out, according to this, 2017. I thought it was later than that, but I know it's been floating around on my want list for a while. From Scratch were a very early 80s bunch of guys who put out a bunch of records, and actually are still around, playing stuff like these pipes and drums and things. It's very kind of experimental. This is a recording from them from 1981, Gung Ho 1, 2, 3, parts 9, 8, 9, 10 and 9, 10, 11. Now, so the first side is them performing that originally in 1981, and then there are 3 interpretations of those pieces by someone called Goat, someone called Don't DJ, and someone called, some outfit called the Utina Kobayashi Group. So yeah, they are still around. They were actually doing a public performance, outdoor performance in Wellington when we were up there. Unfortunately, our flight home was leaving just as they were performing, so I didn't get to see that. This is new to me. Seamouse. Now this is their latest album called Tropical Fish, just come out a few weeks back, or a month or so ago. Self-released by the looks of it. Not sure where they're from, somewhere in the North Island. Now, yeah, I don't know, I'd never heard of them, and it just turns out this is their second LP. And their first one is still available on Bandcamp, so I may get a copy of it. Now, this is a rock LP, but man, this is very white stripes. I mean, this could be a long lost White Stripes LP. It is very, very White Stripes. So yeah, but it's a trio, so there is bass on it. But yeah, so there is some nice blues on it actually. Yeah, so that was interesting. So I enjoyed it. It's a bit derivative. It's on the very dark purple vinyl. I don't know if you can tell that. Yeah, so that was an interesting find. So yeah, like I say, I found it on Flying Out. This was their latest LP, only just maybe hit the shops not that long ago. And then I discovered that they had another LP out previous to that. Also, some that I got from Relics in Dunedin. So on Facebook, one of the pages I'm a member of posted about this next LP. This was a reissue of this LP is a reissue. Now this is Gate, Michael Morley of the Dead Sea. This is his very first release, which was a cassette release in 1989. This is a reissue, first time ever on vinyl. It's 3 sides on Fabrica Records from 2020 out of the USA. So yeah, the guy who put it out, he posted on the Dead Sea Facebook page group and said, you know, blah blah, this is still available. I think this is limited to something like 300 copies worldwide. He said, I've got some, but it's just too expensive to get from the States. But he said, oh no, there is some still in New Zealand available from Dunedin's Relic Records. And I know, I've been to Relics before. So I quickly went on the Relics website and found this and had a look at what else they had in stock and actually scored some other records at the same time. So really pleased to get this. So it might even be the last copy available in New Zealand unless you know, have to go overseas. So also I picked up off their website that day a rarish Flying Nun EP from 1990, Dribbling Darts of Love. This is a 5-track EP. To be honest, I wasn't actually familiar with anything off this EP. Yeah, so I wasn't particularly following much New Zealand music in 1990 in that, but Flying Nun were very well established by then, of course. So yeah, it wasn't cheap. I paid a little bit of money for it, but you know, I'll pick up Flying Nun stuff when I can afford to, and when it's at a reasonable price I can afford to buy. And if I see it, I mean, I did show another Flying Nun LP I picked up recently from Penny Lane. And finally from Relics I picked up this, which was interesting. Again, it was on my want list, so I've got a lot of stuff on my want list that I've forgotten about, on my Discogs want list, you know, as I've been exploring the back annals of New Zealand music. So this is an album by a band called Drone. Now it's not quite actually what it sounds like. Drone, I was thinking maybe it was going to be one of those really underground experimental droney type records, but it's not. So Drone were around from the 80s, in the late 80s, and this is their first LP, original copy from 1989, and this was still brand new. So someone had found some copies unopened and unsold, and well, this particular copy ended up at Relics, so I jumped on it, and it is more reminiscent of the Jeffries brothers from Palmerston North. Yeah, I think they're from Palmy area, from the 80s and 90s, and the Nocturnal Projections and this kind of Punishment. This is kind of that sort of stuff. And I think they're from a very similar area of the country, actually. They did put out a couple of other records after this, but they were only on CD, I believe, and there was some 7-inch singles. So yeah, that was cool. That was a good find. And then back to the Flying Out arrivals. This one had been out for a wee while, and I finally decided to pick a copy up of it. It turns out it's actually more of it's a 45 RPM EP, I suppose, but it actually got 10 songs on it. So this is Finn Andrews, he of the leader of the Veils, and this is his first solo record. There was a single that preceded this, which the songs which are not on this EP or this LP. I don't know if it's an LP. It's actually reasonably long for an RP45. RPM. I don't like the cover, it's a bit sort of dodgy looking. I don't know whether that's a young boy or a young girl, but yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It's kind of late night chamber pop. He's on piano and there's a lot of strings arrangements in there, and a lot of people backing him up on various tracks. Again, another one that I got out of flying out, like I say, I cashed in my points, so I didn't actually end up paying for these per se. This one I'd seen around a couple of times. I was familiar with it, and I'm familiar with its existence. I wasn't familiar with the music, but the band is called Onono, and this is a 5-track EP also, although I think it plays at 33. It's just on black vinyl, isn't it? Yeah, it's on black vinyl. Yeah, I actually had to look it up on Discogs to see what speed it played at, because there's absolutely nothing on the label, just a white label. I understand this is a copy of an issue of only 75 copies, so surprisingly that one turned up. It's kind of indie pop, indie rock sort of thing. To be honest, it may grow on me, but on first listen it didn't really blow me away in any manner of speaking. But you know, sometimes things like that, you know, you take a little bit of listening to get into them. And then another EP which I'd known about for a while, and I was a bit reluctant because there's only 4 tracks on it and they're almost charging the same price as a full LP. Dead Punk Production, so it's kind of still it's a self-release sort of job too, I think. From last year, Torana, Fired Up, yeah, so it's hard rock, punky rock sort of stuff, you know, not bad, but again, it didn't really fire me big time. But again, I mean, and I was familiar with one song that Chris Walker had played on his radio show last year, his podcast. Fired Up, I think, was the track he played from memory. And then finally, for the new Jonathan Bree record, which has been out for a wee while now. I have his previous album. This is his 4th on Little Chief Records from earlier this year. Someone on Facebook reckoned it's really, really good. My first impression was, yes, it's not bad. It's more chamber pop on this nice red vinyl, limited edition red vinyl. Jonathan, like I say, he's got 4 LPs out. I've got his last one. To be honest, I haven't played it very much. He used to be in the Brunettes, and I don't have any of their records. They are reasonably difficult to find. Probably easier to find them on CD. Again, I think this one will probably grow a bit with more sustained listening as I get exposed to it more. Oh, and I just forgot, speaking of coloured vinyl, the Torana is also on a red, slightly different red. Not translucent red like the last one, but yeah, that's a nice red colour there. So nice colour. It was very colourful on my table last night as I had them all drying after I put them through the record cleaner, all sitting in there. Very nice colourful scene. So yeah, that's a bunch of records there, and that is me for a quick video for the recent arrivals. The Gate LP is probably one of the better of those picks. It is pretty outrageous. There is some really crazy stuff on it, but very lo-fi, very underground, as you would expect from Michael Morley. First time I've heard anything of his stuff from that far back. Alright, that's me. I'll leave you to it. Enjoy your day. Happy hunting, vinyl hunting, and things have slowed down a bit work-wise, and are probably going to slow down a bit vinyl-wise. And Penny Lane still never had their big record store day sale. Now that we've had 2 of the record store days, I think there's still one to come. Unfortunately, I probably haven't got any money left, even if they did have their sale now. Right, see you later. Cheers.